Alright, welcome back to another Bromance Wargaming. This is for Malorian's Around the World challenge, or each army do something every different month. I forget how he does it, but it's not. This month's theme is Skaven. We're doing Battle for the Pass. We have a Chimerian Quicksand, a Wizard's Tower, Fence, and Blood Forest right now, and the always popular Necroharan Sphinx that no one will get to use.
Yeah.
For my army, I have two units of Gutter Runners with slings, nets, and poison attacks. One's scouting, one's sneakily advancing. I have a unit of Night Runners that are tunneling, and this is their marker. Hopefully they'll, at worst, they'll end up right there.
No, hopefully at worst the cavern collapses on them.
Safe. Absolutely safe. I have 3 units of slaves, 3 units of rat darts. This one has one more rat, or someone has one more rat. 10 units of plague sensor bearers, a unit of 2 blocks of 20 clan rats with sword, light armor, banners, and warp fire throwers. I have 30 clan rats full command with my general who's wearing the wizard hat. I got deaf and I didn't get anything good out of it, but
hooray!
Fear is good. Fear is good. I might freak out some of the goblins. My BSV with MR3, Doom Wheel, 1 more warp fire thrower, the Hell Pit Abomination to go mess with some trolls hopefully, and not.
It'll be a regen fight.
1 Plague Claw Catapult, 1 Warp Lightning Cannon, 45 Plague Monks with my Grey Seer, a Naked Halberd, a Naked Chieftain with a Halberd, and a Chieftain with the Terrifying Mask of E to scare away these people. And that is my army. Wow. It's a lot.
Yes, it is. Well, you've been playing Tomb Kings for a while.
I know.
All right. So, speaking of things that don't get a lot of play, over here on this flank is my giant, Greg the Giant. Next to him, hiding behind the Black Orcs, is a unit of 14 squigs with some handlers. The Black Orcs are 35 strong. They have Orcsies in the corner. He's a level 4 Orc Wizard with the Scepter of Stability, Fencer's Blades, Talisman of Preservation. He has Hand of Gork, Headbutt, Here We Go, and Foot. Behind him is some Wolf Riders, and over there in the corner by the Necroharan Sphinx, protecting it against all evil, is the Goblin Doomdiver. We've got a Pump Wagon with an Outrigger, Spiky Roller, and Exploding Spores. In the Wizard's Tower, also protecting it against all evil, is another Doomdiver. In front, we've got 2 units of Spider Riders. You can tell that they've already vanguarded. We've got 2 units of 50 Night Goblins. Both have 2 Fanatics, both have nets, both have hand weapon and shields. In the rightmost unit is Amer-Orc-A. He's my answer to Malorian's Captain Canada, and he's a real American. He fights for what's right for every orc. Then we have a Black Orc BSB. America has Sword of Striking, Armor of Destiny, and the Crown of Command. The Black Orc BSB has the Trickster's Helm and a shield. Then we've got 6 Trolls hanging out. Then we've got Mad Git on Bouncer, another guy who doesn't make a lot of appearances. Mad Git on Bouncer is cheap this time. He's just a Night Goblin big boss. He's got the Relic Sword and Enchanted Shield. Then back in the back we've got the Wolf Riders, who are actually straddling that token right now, but I just can't get them to stand there. Got another Pump Wagon, same as the first. Then we've got our Rock Lava. So, like he said, like Mr. Yoshi said, this is Battle for the Pass. We've vanguarded, we've scouted, and we've already shooken to wish each other good luck. And the good luck has begun for me because I got first turn. So we'll get back to you after that. All right, guys, this is the bottom of Orc turn 1. You can see we just did a general advance. Greg moved up pretty aggressively. Everybody else moved up pretty much according to how fast they could. The trolls are going to guard that fence there for a little bit. My random movement stuff went back here. I stayed on that token. And magic was, I drew out the scroll. I tried to Hand of Gork. I got an 18 on 3 dice to move for the powered up Hand of Gork on Greg. And Mr. Yoshi decided that was not a good thing to do on the first turn, get him back behind some lines. Yep. So he Dispel Scrolled it, and then I cast Large Foot of Gork on the Plague Monks, and Mr. Yoshi dispelled it on his dice, which made me cry a little bit. Shooting, I killed some of the Gutter Runners. They passed one of their Ninja Reflexes tests because they're ninjas. And they rolled a double 1 on their on their panic test. So there they are, pissing me off in the center of the table. And we're going to go to Mr. Yoshi's turn 1 and see what happens. But have to admit that I'm hoping that it's a lot of bad things for him and not necessarily bad things for me.
Bottom of Skaven turn 1. More importantly, in the beginning of the turn phase, was not stupid.
Forgot that he was stupid because of the hat.
Compulsory movement. Doomwheel scudded up way too fast. I probably should have put him on the line and I would have crashed into the spiders. I used the slaves to kill one fanatic. The Doomwheel killed the second one.
With his shooting.
It's a shooting, correct. He took a wound for his trouble. The Gutter Runners moved over to pick at Greg, the giant. They did 2 wounds. The Warp Lightning Cannon also did 2 wounds.
Thumbs up for not exploding Warp Lightning Cannon.
Plague Ball Catapult did 1 wound to the Night Goblins, who did not care about the toxic fumes. And Magic was a bust. I didn't concentrate my spells. I should have focused on casting Fear on the Rat Dart to hopefully make them not panic when they get charged by Terror Causer, but I didn't want to 6 dice my general.
Leadership, what, 5 on those guys?
Yep.
Alright. Well, we'll get back to you guys at the bottom of my turn, and hopefully things will be going swimmingly for the orcs. Alright, so this is the bottom of Orc and Goblin turn 2. Greg charged the giant rats who fled, and then he charged the slaves who also fled. I actually debated charging the Plague Monks to get to beat some people up since we strike at the same time and all that jazz. And I decided, you know what, maybe the slaves will actually pass their terror check or something, or maybe they won't elect to flee, I don't know. But I did what I did, and I, of course, failed. The spiders charged the butt of the Gutter Runners, and we traded wounds, and they rolled another double 1 for their break test, so those are the bravest dang Gutter Runners ever.
Sweet.
Everybody else just kind of moved up. The trolls charged the blocking giant rat dart. Mad Get on Bouncer ran away from the hell pit. You may notice that there's a missing Doom Wheel, and what happened was the rat dart actually got within 8 inches of the second unit of Night Goblins that had fanatics. So I went ahead and threw both of them at the Doom Wheel, and they went through and they did like 11 hits between them, and they totally rocked his world and killed him. So that's pretty much that. Amer-Orc-A, he charged, and both people that he charged fled, which is fine. In shooting, I shot down one of the warp fire throwers. The other Doom Diver misfired. The cannon, direct hit on the Hell Pit Abomination, wounded him. He failed his regen and rolled 1 wound. So it's okay though. And in Magic, I tried to Hand of Gork Greg and failed to cast it, which I realized afterwards I was getting pretty cocky, but that's okay. Should have just done the non-powered up version to get him out of everybody's way, but that is what it is. And then I tried to cast Itchy Nuisance on the Hell Pit, and Mr. Yoshi used all of his dice on it. So anyway, that's that. We'll see what happens. He's got some sneaky infiltrators and some tunnelers that have the ability to come up, and his Hell Pit looks like he's trying to figure out who to get to. So we'll get back to you at the end of his turn too.
Alright, bottom of turn, Skaven turn 2. Lots of abysmal action going on.
Yeah, it was not very great.
Compulsory phase. I only needed an 11 to swing in and avoid the trolls that were hiding behind the wall.
Yeah, it's somewhere like that. I don't really know.
Fell short by 4 inches or so. That was unfortunate.
Yep.
Rallied my slaves, so I have some more chaff. These slaves failed to rally.
They were outside the bubble, so...
Outside the bubble, outside the bubble. The magic phase... Oh, it charges. I charged my giant rats into the rear of the spiders, but they bounced off.
That was pretty ridiculous. And the Plague Monks ran into Greg.
The Sensor Bears charged into Greg.
Yeah, the Sensor Bears, I'm sorry.
And that was awful, too. Magic phase, I IF'd...
Fate of Bajuna?
Fate of Bajuna onto this fanatic, killed it, didn't get any magic dice left, and wounded my general and my Grey Seer. Sucked all my magic dice, so that was that. Shooting, the Plague Claw Catapult was treacherously off target, suspiciously off target, landed on my clan rats that were right here. They failed their panic test after losing 10 guys. So 3 more onto a dangerous train.
Yep. That may turn out in your favor in the end.
They needed to live. They need to do some blocking. Shooting. Warfire Thrower annihilated 23
Ooh,
slaves.
that was a sad, sad day to be a night goblin.
It's a shame that there wasn't one more Warfire Thrower to do the job. I think it would have really turned the tide. World Binding Cannon sniped off Madgit.
No, Madgit!
And no one cared about him. This Warfire Thrower was misfired and squirt the Musketeer as the nozzle failed to fire and explode.
I saw the misfire and was excited, and then it was...
Awful. Combat. I did no wounds.
Yeah.
The job.
And I did 2 wounds to the rats.
Right.
So we both had rears. He had a charge, so I won by 1. And the rats bounced, and the...
Brave gutter runners.
The gutter runners, what'd they say again?
Don't give a fuck. They rolled a 3 for their brave test.
And then they reformed too, like a son of a junk. Anyway.
Got this combat. Now, Sense Bearers, they wounded themselves. Greg didn't take any wounds from the toughness check, and since they're the same initiative, he yelled and bawled and won like a champ and chased them off the board.
Yeah, good job, Greg.
Good job. They didn't panic, thankfully.
What about your giant rats?
No, they were out.
Okay, that's fine.
Difference. Neither of my ambush units came on, so
hooray!
That's really gonna hurt me.
Yep.
Turn 3.
So yeah, things are looking pretty good for Orcs and Goblins right now. We've just got to press the advantage over here on the left flank and get on into your squishy backfield. All right, we'll come back to you at the end of Orc and Goblin turn 3. All right, so in Orc and Goblin turn 3, I moved up over here where you can see, just trying to get closer. The Spider Riders there charged the fleeing rats and pushed them off. My Night Goblins moved up. My Trolls charged the flank of the Hell Pit. You can see how that combat went. We actually traded wounds, but he was stubborn and rolled an 8, which is 9, which is Yoshi's Bane. That's what happens to him every time he plays, and the Hell Pit doesn't immediately die. So there it is, hanging out. In other news, the Spider Riders finally, the Gutter Runners missed twice, failed to wound, and the Spider Riders, even hitting on 5s, they rolled up 4 hits, and there was one guy left, and we chased him down. So that is finally clear of the ridiculousness over there. And then pretty much everything else is as you see it. We just kind of moved our stuff around in the back, waiting for stuff to pop up. In Magic, I got Big Foot off, and he dispelled it. And then I tried to Headbutt, and I failed to wound on the Gray Seer, which I was really excited about because I had a 2/3 chance to kill him because he's already carrying a wound from the miscast. So, alas, I'm going to have to deal with another turn of Magic. But we're going on to Skaven turn 3, and let's see if the Infiltrators can make a difference. Go ahead.
Bottom of turn 4, Skaven.
3. Bottom of 3.
Bottom of 3. Made a charge into the clan rats into the spiders. Arrived with the Night Runners and the Wolf Rider. Killed panicked the Wolf Riders.
Yep, beat up 3 of them, ran them off. They tried really hard to kill that Warp Grinder, though.
Made an arm safe.
Ooh.
Gutter Runners came on, but I forgot to shoot with them, so that was pointless and a waste of points.
Hanging out behind the Necrohair and Sphinx.
The Hell Pit rallied, thankfully.
On the reroll from the BSB, I was excited that first time he failed.
The command group fell back to the bunker, which will probably get hit by a rock. Warfire Thrower fell short. Magic was dispelled. I did cast Fear onto my clan rats, so when they get flanked and double charged, they'll not hopefully die so quickly. And the cannon failed to wound Greg.
It actually didn't even get there, did it?
It didn't get it there.
Yeah.
You're right. And the catapult scattered off.
Into nowhere land.
Another abysmal Skaven phase.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens on this Orc turn 4.
Oh no.
Alright, well this was a brutal Orc and Goblin turn 4. I'll have to do a lot of explaining. Yoshi, you're probably going to have to help me out. So, the pump wagon far in the back charged the Gutter Runners who forgot to shoot. It did 2 impact hits, but between, I think it wounded both of those, and then it plunked 1 wound through, and actually it has taken a wound, if you want to put those little wound counters down, but it ran them off. That unit of Gutter Runners was not fighting to the death like the first ones. This second pump wagon tried to charge in to the Night Runners, some other kind of runners, and it rolled double ones, so it ended up going the other way. I tried to block them off with my spiders from getting in the building, which isn't really working, but I tried. That's as far as I could go. I charged the trolls, who ended up being in the front, which I was sad about, and the night goblins with my BSB into the hell pit. And actually that was a push combat, so I'm okay with that. The combat next, I charged Amer-Orc-A into the fearful goblins, or the fearful rats, and I actually lost that combat by 1 because my goblins missed like 9 times out of 10. And actually Amer-Orc-A, with a sort of striking and wounding on 2s, managed to only do a single wound, so he's kind of sad, but his Crown of Command kept him in the fight. And then over here, the vast, desolate wasteland. We'll go to the easy one first. The squigs beat the junk out of those clan rats that had charged them, that overran from the spiders and charged them. Greg the Giant charged into the plague monks, into the flank. They had to hold because they were frenzied. The black orcs charged into, they needed a 7, but I thought it was worth it to get that combo charge off. The black orcs needed a 7 and got into the warp fire thrower, which stood in shot. Perhaps in retrospect a bad idea. They got in, they rolled the necessary 5 on the overrun and slammed into the front of the plague monks. Greg decided that he was going to jump up and down, and between that and his thunderstomp, he did like 11 wounds. The black orcs did a number of wounds, 14 or 15, and the plague monks did 15 back. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough. We did snipe out his Grey Seer in that combat. There was one file that could only attack the Grey Seer. And I should mention that in Magic, the way that we understand it, you can direct damage out of combat into, if you're in combat, you can direct damage spell into from that combat, but not into another combat. So my wizard, who was in a combat with the warp fire thrower at the time, targeted his general, who was not in a combat, with Edbutt. He let it go because he had MR3. He failed the 4-up ward, and I rolled 3 wounds, so the general died. So now he's down to a BSB as his characters. And over here, it is what it is. We're probably just going to keep pillow fighting over there. But ultimately, things are looking pretty grim. It's like the Hell Pit versus the world right now, and some shooting. And Greg, of course, is staring down the barrel of that cannon. He's saying, "Bring it at me, bro." And so right now, Greg is the MVP of the game so far. And that's really crazy because I haven't used him in probably a year and a half. Anyway, we'll get back to you at the end of Skaven turn 4, see if Mr. Yoshi can do anything to stop the implacable green advance.
End of turn 4 for Skaven, end of the game. Massive victory to the orcs. As far as my turn, I got to charge off into the tower.
He only did 1 wound.
Only did 1 wound for all those attacks.
It's alright though. I failed to do anything back.
Never bothered to rally those guys, but they rallied. That's good. Had no magic. Shooting was point blank range, hoping for the best, and I did not get the best. I got almost. I got the short drift in, but not enough power to knock down the giant.
Yeah, only strength 2, so Greg is looking at getting him a cannon.
This combat, I barely lost, but
yeah, not very much.
Wasn't going to win it on the long haul.
Over here, he just picked him up. I mean, that's just so many attacks, and then the slaves explode if they lose. So
and in the forest.
Oh yeah, not even steadfast.
Combat here, I only did 7 wounds. He got 1 wound through.
You did 6 wounds.
6 wounds.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, we did tie. Never mind. Whatever.
Yeah. But wasn't enough to win the game or push back anything. So we're calling it here. Victory.
Yep. Just talking out the next couple turns. Good game, sir.
Good game.
You know, Amer-Orc-A is going to charge in here, and he's going to wog, and I'm going to rip my shirt, and that's just going to be a bunch of combat res, so I'll probably win that. The Black Orcs, if we were still going, probably would have reformed to charge the whatever that thing is called, the Plague Claw Catapult. Greg, of course, is going to eat a cannon. And I'm not really sure what's happening over here in the building, but I would probably have just killed these guys with spiders and or a pump wagon and shot those guys. So it would have been, he would have had some slaves left and red group rallying on a 5 with no support. So we decided it wouldn't be very fun to play that out. He did go ahead and roll the preemptive too horrible to die, and it did not spawn again, so he didn't want to play it out and, make me kill the hell pit twice. Mr. Yoshi, good game, and we'll come back to you guys with the recaps.
End of game thoughts. I really like the list, and the wizard hat is always a gamble, and due to the FAQs where strength in numbers does not give me a boost, or any other nonsense with that, the rules of Spirit Leech and unmodified leadership and modified leadership, it was never going to be anything good for me if I didn't get Soul Blight or Purple Sun or something that you can extend the range with Death. My Grace here going all in Plague, that was pretty much of a wash, and I think I really hate going for 13th because it's such a dirty way to win, but it seems like it's the only long range spell that the Skaven have in their arsenal. Other than like the Warp Lightning, but can't power it up. I like the 3 Warp Fire Throwers, I really do, and I'm just going to have to do a better job of keeping the Warp Fire Throwers near their parent units. I was trying to be clever with the giving the fear to my units to make sure they don't panic away from Greg, the mighty MVP giant. But I think the most crucial part of this game was the scenario. Battle from the Past limited my ability to... I think I had like 2 more drops on you?
1.
1?
Yeah.
No, 2, because it was like you did characters after the Night Runners, and I had like a red group or my bunker and then the Hell Pit, so it was 2. And the Gutter Runners not being able to come from the long board edge really hurt. The Warp Grinder, it can charge on the turn that it rises, which is great, but it's that 50-50 chance to come up, and if it doesn't come up in time, we saw all my supporting units get chomped down. And that's about it. I'm going to try it again, probably dump the Wizard Hat, get a level 2, and see if that synergizes better. I'm not sure. But hopefully next time the shooting will be more awesome, because combat will never be well if shooting doesn't work for Skaven.
True.
Go.
So, obviously it was a brutal massacre. The East belongs to the Orcs. The East is green. So, as far as post-game thoughts, I thought that actually the game started to fall down when I began controlling Chaff. Yoshi likes to use the Necrosphinx as Chaff, and I understand why, because if you're not paying attention to terror, you can really kind of start dictating that flow. Greg really, as Yoshi said, was the MVP, and it was because he scared away some Chaff, then he got the combat unit of Censer Bearers, and then he was all set up to continue to harass people. And a lot of that did have to do with terror. A lot of it had to do with, there was resources devoted to him that weren't devoted to the rest of my army, so the rest of my army could just pretty much push up. I had I was winning the Chaff War when I somehow beat the Gutter Runners. I kept them, I charged them in the back, and I failed that first turn, and the second turn was a push, and then finally, the third turn, they won. But, I mean, that was a big deal. And again, that just, it allowed me time to shoot, destroy the Warp Fire Throwers. The cannon was preoccupied with Greg, again an MVP for that reason. The cannon never had the ability to... It did take 1 pot shot at Mad on Bouncer, and it, of course, annihilated him. So, because it get points where you can get points. And then, so yeah, really, everything that I don't normally use in my list anymore, the Giant... The Squigs only fought in 1 combat, but they did 10 wounds out of 15 attacks, so they did well. The Fanatics killed a Doomwheel, which is excellent, and I don't really use Fanatics that much. So everybody's really fighting for inclusion. I told Mr. Yoshi that when we put the armies down, I actually felt like I was a little underpowered, like my list was a little less good than his list. His list was a little more optimized. It had plenty of stuff to kill my fewer war machines than normal. Had a bunch of shooting, and I didn't really have a lot of combat punch. I had some Night Goblins. The Black Orcs obviously were combat-y, and I had the Night Goblins and small units of, Trolls and Squigs. So I thought, oh man, this is going to be really rough. I'm going to lose a bunch of stuff to shooting. But like I said, controlling that Chaff at the beginning helped me get rid of it. And obviously him not coming on turn 2 to shoot my war machines also helped. So as far as the list goes, I really like it. It worked out well. It's not really overwhelming. It's not really, I don't feel really cheesy when I use it. And best of all, it's got some models, like I said, that I don't get to use very much. And I guess that's it. I was really excited to have Ed Butt that game. I was really excited to, because I also Ed Butted the Grey Seer and it just failed to wound. But that could have been the MVP. Orcs could have been the MVP if he could have Ed Butted both of the wizards off. Although I'm going to pretend that he's the one that killed, since I rolled his attacks at the same time as the Black Horse.
That's right.
I'm going to pretend that he Ed Butted the General and then knifed the Grey Seer. That's. I'm just going to go with that. But anyway, that's the game. We hope everybody enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll get back to you guys with another game hopefully next week.
That's right. A whole bunch of games.
Oh yeah, we should have 3 or 4 games next week hopefully.
And maybe get to play with the Tacoans?
Maybe.
Yeah. Super Bowl can't last that long. It's gonna be an ass kicking.
Yeah, we'll play it. We'll play right after the Super Bowl while Jody is crying.
Is he a Seahawk fan?
I don't know. I actually really don't care who wins.
That's true. Yeah. Giants next year.
Next year.
Orcs.